You're listening to Phil DeBella, and this is FlashCast by PDB. I get asked a lot of questions about mindset, and today, rather than me answer that, I'm going to bring in my amazing wife, Gianna DeBella, who is a mindset coach. GiannaDeBella.com, GiannaDibella.com. If you want to know more and you love what she has to say, check her out on the website. She does mindset coaching from startups right through to big organizations. She's brilliant at what she does, and she's only probably a quarter of the price of most people. So that's a bonus as well, because she's not doing it for the money. But that's enough giving her a plug. I welcome Gigi to the show.
Thanks for the plug.
Anytime, you're worth it. Remember, it's my personal brand. If you weren't good at what you do, I wouldn't be plugging. But let's start. I'm going to ask you a list of questions today, that I hope the listeners will get lots out of. And it's all around mindset. So let's start with the following. Some of these, by the way, have come in from actual listeners. So I've compiled a list of questions. Some are my own and some are from listeners. So how do you teach growth mindset to children?
Well, I guess, first of all, a good idea is to define what growth mindset is versus fixed mindset. So a growth mindset is where you are able to scaffold and create strategies for yourself that you continue to learn to achieve what you want to, whereas fixed mindset is a very black and white way of looking at things. Either you can or you can't, or I can or I can't.
So how do you apply this to children?
So with children, interesting, the work of Carol Dweck, her book is called Mindset, and it's an amazing breakthrough book, really. And what she talks about is she did lots of studies around this, and she found that she thought, as we all do, that praising children will help them develop their confidence, where when she did these studies, she actually found that when you praise children, it actually produces a fixed mindset where they feel like they're either smart or they're not. And when they define themselves as smart, they then have to defend that position. So they then no longer try and stretch and challenge themselves, but rather they shy away from those challenging and hardship moments that life brings.
Very interesting. So, in short, it's not always about praising our children. It's about, because we're actually building a negativity, a fixed mindset, it's about taking them on the journey and discussing things with them, correct?
Yes, it's all about the journey and not the destination. I think that's the problem that our schooling system has. It talks often about the destination being the end of year result versus the process of learning and how to improve and move forward. And, it's in those challenges often, and we all know this in business, it's in the challenges that where the real gift is, because that's where we grow and develop most. We need to remind our children of that.
Well, great segue into so how do you deal with fixed mindsets at work?
So we've often, every person has, in different situation, can have a fixed mindset. So it is very much about developing the art of self-reflection. And that's what I try and do in coaching. It's opening up the field of vision, that self-inquiry, so that you can really look at the ways in which you're thinking and the errors in your thinking.
So something you often talk about is through conversation, right?
Conversation is the key because often it's when you actually hear yourself talking about the stories you create within your own mind, often they're not even reality, but it's the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves that really do shape our lives. So it's really looking at those and seeing, well, what are the generative stories that we're telling ourselves, or what are the supportive stories that we're telling ourselves that really support that vision that we want to create for our life.
So what are some examples of not growth mindset?
So I had a client recently who came into coaching, and she had a very fixed mindset about herself, in the fact that she said that no matter what job she ever had, it would always go badly because people would not allow her to have her own voice. And so through the process of coaching and inquiring and self-reflection and asking certain questions, she came to see that that pattern really related to how her father in her earlier life had treated her, and that just because she believed that as a child didn't mean that she had to believe that as an adult anymore. So she went into work with a different view of some of the people that were creating issues for her. And instead of a closed way of looking at it, she approached it with a curious mind and an open mind. And she actually broke through some of the resistance she was having with someone that was being a micromanager and a control freak. And things really shifted for her and really changed.
So simple exercises to develop a growth mindset, what would be the go-to? What are some simple, I know that you're a big fan of, the strength testing, but so maybe tell us a little bit about that and some other, exercises that enable you to explore the concept of growth mindset.
I think the first thing would be to connect in with yourself. You know, this world is such a distracted, busy world, and often we don't really we don't spend the time to actually connect on what we're really thinking and feeling. So having a practice each day where you connect in with yourself, whether that's meditation, whether that's yoga, whether that's relaxation, whether that's exercise, whatever it is, there needs to be some form of self-reflection. Another exercise would be to really focus in on what you're saying to yourself. Are you limiting yourself by the stories that you're telling yourself, about what's happening in your environment, about the people around you? And the third one is to set an intention for yourself. So at a practice that I do, even with our own children, I do it myself, but with our children, is to review the day and play it back like a movie and think about all the things that you'd like to do better the next day and set the intention for what you want to achieve.
And G, what about a little bit about the strength testing? Because I know that's been powerful for me, and it's definitely helped me build a growth mindset, because as you talk about, I can focus on the strengths, but I can also acknowledge that the strengths can become shadows, which the shadows to me would be fixed mindset, and obviously the positivity of the strengths is growth mindset.
So strengths really allow you to really plug into the potential, your untapped potential. It's the things that you're already good at. So knowing what your strengths are and really living them every day and using them in whatever job you have can really help you tap into that natural potential that we all have in us. And when we overuse our strengths, they can actually become a shadow strength. So they become the weaknesses, and they can really be counterproductive.
So on a personal level, using everything you know about growth mindset, how have you been able to help somebody close to you that has struggled because of their fixed mindset?
So I've had, as I said earlier, one client that came to see me. It was very much about opening her view of herself and the people around her. And we did that through really looking at the stories she was telling herself. And when she started, I asked her, at our last session, I asked her, so when you started coaching, how did you feel about the world? She said, my image was that I felt like I was lost in a cave. And I said, so, and what's the image you feel now? She said, well, I'm outside of the cave and I'm the tree that's got deep roots and flourishing, and the branches are strong and flowing with the wind.
Yeah, some powerful stuff. And in closing, can I say that seeing as an outsider, seeing the work that Gianna does with many of her clients, and of course she can't discuss what she does with her clients with me, but I see that she's had a positive impact because of the people and the journey and where they started and what they've been able to achieve after they've been coaching. Can I say that growth mindset to me is all about a yes if mentality versus a no because mentality. And that's the one way that I stay focused when it comes to a growth mindset, is that it's all about yes if. Everything is yes if versus a no because. So if you take something away, of course there's great nuggets there that Gianna shared, is to make sure that you jot down some notes, but also understand that final comment of everything Gianna spoke about is all about being in a yes if mindset versus a no because. Until next time, I hope that your growth mindset helps you become the best you can be. You've been listening to Phil DeBella and Gianna DeBella, and this is FlashCast by PDB.